We are taught from a young age that the world rewards honesty and fair play. Do the right thing, and you win. But look closely at the people getting promoted over you, or the ones who always seem to walk away unscathed. They aren't necessarily the most qualified. They simply understand the reality of the game. By default, human beings are incredibly easy to read. We overshare our thoughts and wear our emotional reactions on our sleeves. In a highly competitive environment, this total transparency makes you vulnerable. It provides others with a roadmap to manipulate or replace you. Dark intelligence functions as a psychological immune system. It is a specialized framework of awareness, hardened by past defeats, that recognizes and neutralizes manipulation before it can take root. This diagram illustrates the intellectual framework behind dark intelligence. The 8 traits we are about to explore are not random psychological tricks. They map directly onto 2 core axes of human behavior: mastering emotion and weaponizing information. Once you understand how to navigate these 2 axes, you stop being an emotionally reactive pawn in someone else's game, and you become the strategic architect of your own life. The first step in mastering emotion is adopting the principle of detachment. This involves operating with a complete absence of fear regarding loss. If you aren't desperately attached to a negotiation, an argument, or someone else's approval, they have zero leverage over you. What you do not desperately need cannot control you. This emotional freedom enables the second trait, outcome obsession. Amateurs waste time and energy trying to prove a point. Professionals ignore the noise and focus entirely on getting the result they want. This involves practicing a concept called strategic laziness. This visualization shows how strategic laziness works. Strip away the desire to win every argument, reducing that massive block of inputs down to a tiny 20% fraction. Focus exclusively on the key actions that guarantee 80% of your desired output. This singular focus on the outcome leads to a difficult reality. The most effective path rarely aligns with what is socially comfortable. Embracing ambiguous morality means accepting that real-world problems often require pragmatic solutions found only in the gray areas, where the actual result matters more than appearing nice to everyone involved. Sometimes the nice thing to do actually enables bad behavior. Protecting the long-term health of an organization frequently requires making harsh, unpopular decisions that people-pleasers try to avoid. Mastering emotion is not about turning off your humanity. It is the vital realization that your choices must be driven by pragmatic reality, completely insulated from the fear of how others might judge you. That brings us to the second axis, weaponizing information. You have to treat your personal information as a highly valuable, finite currency. If you spend it all at once through oversharing, it loses its value immediately. To retain that value, you practice calculated opacity and controlled exposure. This diagram illustrates a psychological force known as the curiosity gap. Notice the obvious missing pieces in the central narrative shape. When you deliberately leave out facts, the brain automatically fills in the missing information. By leaving those gaps open, you force people to project their own imagination onto you. Because their imagination does the heavy lifting, you gain quiet control over their perception. The physical execution of this information control is a tactic called silent leverage. Real power rarely shouts, it whispers. And in high-stakes conversations, it often says absolutely nothing. For example, if someone hits you with an aggressive question, do not rush to fill the air. Let this silence stretch for a few seconds before answering. That delay shifts the psychological weight of the interaction back onto the person interrogating you. True leverage is unseen. By revealing less and embracing silence, you force the rest of the world to lean in and listen harder. When you combine emotional detachment with strict information control, you unlock the ability to perfectly adapt to whoever is in front of you. This is the adaptive persona. Think of yourself like water. You take the exact shape of your container, adjusting your communication style to match them. The critical distinction here is that adapting your delivery does not mean abandoning your actual identity. You change the presentation to be effective, but your core principles and authentic values remain completely solid. This leads directly into the final trait, the psychological echo. Instead of listening just to reply, You act as a mirror, reflecting back someone's deepest unspoken needs, whether they silently ask for safety, recognition, or freedom. When you strip away your own emotional ego and frame your ideas purely in terms that fulfill their core needs, you do not have to force them to agree with you. They will naturally want to follow your lead. Internalizing these 8 traits changes your entire perspective. You stop running blindly through the maze as a reactive participant, and you rise above it, becoming a quiet architect of reality. These tools provide the leverage needed to navigate complex, often hostile environments. This framework exists to help you neutralize manipulation and secure results that serve the greater good, ensuring that strategic intelligence is used for constructive ends, rather than personal gain at the expense of others. Of course, understanding the psychology of power is useless if you leave it as theory. You have to apply it in the real world. Here is your challenge. Pick just one of these 8 traits and practice it in your daily interactions for the next 7 days. To commit to this change, drop this affirmation in the comments below. I choose to be strategically intelligent, not emotionally reactive. Stay strategic, stay ethical, and use your intelligence to build something that lasts.